Hi everybody, I'm Alison Kent with thehomekitchen.com, a website for food writing, an online shop, which we'll be talking about later, and a hub for all things kitchen design. And we're going to be talking tonight to, I see her coming in, to Jolene Kolk of Pantry Studios, and she is a food photographer. If you go along, she's a food photographer and stylist. So we get along just fine. Let's see. There she is. Hi, Jolene.
Hi,
Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. My sound was down. I don't know if that affected my introduction of you or not, but I've introduced you as a food photographer and stylist,
Ah,
which,
awesome.
which is, of course, why we get along famously.
Yes. And why we're here tonight, I guess. Art,
And why we're
food.
here tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why don't you, well, do you want me to start with how we met, or do you want to start with like how you've come to this place?
You can start with how we met.
Because I don't know where, like when we met, I don't know where that came in your like becoming a food photographer journey.
Yeah. How about you go first and then I'll bring in the pieces.
Okay, well, we met at a fabulous food photography. It wasn't necessarily just food photography. It was telling stories, right? It was about how to tell stories with your food photography, and it was on Salt Spring, and it was run by Eat Creative, which is Danielle Atkin, Emily Lakopoulos, and Ariella.
Aurelia.
Aurelia. I always say her name wrong. And they do a lot of cookbooks, a lot of collaborations together. So now they have this group called Eat Creative. And they held a workshop on Salt Spring. And I think I was the only person there that didn't have a proper camera. Everybody else had come from a photography background who was interested in food. And then I came in as a food person who just wanted to be able to tell better stories. And they said I was okay to use my phone. So that was nice of them. And then I met you there, and I don't know if you were like just starting out then or if you'd already been taking photos. Like, were you already a photographer? Tell us about your business.
So that was actually my second workshop from Eat Creative because I
Okay.
had gone the previous fall to a more introduction, like a shorter course that they did. And that I would say was like my pinnacle turning point in deciding that I actually wanted to do this as a career, that first one. Because I was still working at a restaurant at the time,
Mm.
for someone else. But if we take it rewind way back, I used to live in Calgary and I used to have a chocolate business there. And so I did the photo side and the making side and the recipe development side and the marketing side. I was too
All
many
the
people.
sides.
I was
But
too
it
many
probably
people.
gave you a good understanding of all the sides, right? Like it gives you
Yes.
that perspective. So when you're photographing something, you're also understanding the story of how that got made,
Yes.
which is good.
And I guess if I rewind before my chocolate business, I went to culinary school. So I've always, and if I rewind further than that, I've just always loved food. So I've always really been into food and art. And then I had that business, and then I worked in restaurants for a while. And then I ended up doing social media at a restaurant. I was doing like events and social media. I was doing some management, like kind of a whole thing. And then I ended up taking over all the social media. I was doing all of that, which I, again, was just on my iPhone. And then I started kind of playing with a real, quote unquote, real camera. And then I went to their first course. And that kind of really opened my eyes to, I've always had, I guess, an eye for art. I always
Hmm.
see things and notice little things.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a turning point to me because I've always seen things and like, oh, I wish I could create this. Like what's in my mind, I want to be able to create that. It's one thing to create it on a plate, but then it's a whole other game to get that plate or
To
whatever
photograph.
it is to photograph it. And
Yeah.
it is different. You can't literally
Yeah.
just, and it's not gonna read the same, because the camera eye does read differently
That was one of the biggest
than your
things I think I
eyes.
learned in that workshop, was that what you see as a cook is not what you see as a
Not what the
photographer
camera
in on
sees.
a photo, and it's just totally different. That was my biggest learning curve in that workshop for sure.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, that second one was so next level, because that first one, to me, I mean, I learned a ton, but I would say the biggest thing I learned was that, oh, I could do this. Like, it's going to take a lot of skill building, but it was like, I don't want to just, at the point I was still working for someone else, but I was like, I don't want to do this for them. I want to really hone my skills and do this for me. I was also pregnant at the time, so that's a big catalyst. And I was
Because she
thinking
had a
about,
tiny baby at the last one.
yes, of course, the little one is interwoven in the story a lot. Um, so yeah, I was pregnant, so that was also a big catalyst. And then I just kind of started seeing it as more of an actual viable option for me later on. And then I basically went quiet for a while, in my own head, I guess, and decided for myself that I was going to work on these skills, but not really like say much about it. And then I kind of did that for a long time, kind of building up my skills, and then went to that second course, and then stayed quiet for a little bit longer. And then finally was like, oh, now that I have kind of a portfolio and I've done a couple workshops, worked with some other people, then I guess I launched my website in December 2020. And then
I remember you announcing it and everything.
yeah, so then I was officially put it out there. I was like, okay, I'm calling myself a capital A artist, and I'm going to do this, because I've always loved it. But yeah.
Yeah, and from your very first photos, I can see how for you it's an art. It's not just how do I snap something cute for Instagram. It's you are actually creating like art pieces in your photography, which to me was really well, it was just cool because I mean, how many flat lays of avocado toast do we really need in the world? And you were just kind of more about like all the things I learned in art school. I went to art school forever. You learn about the shadow and the light and directing the eye and color and texturing. You learn all these things in art school, and to see you pulling all those things into a photo, especially when we actually just worked one-on-one together recently when we did our little shoot. It was really cool to see your process of like, well, this texture needs to go with this texture, and then the colors, and it was really fun to explore with you. I'll talk more about what we did together in a minute, but it was really fun to see your kind of eye as an artist, and I appreciate that as a fellow artist, even though we have different ways of creating our art, right?
Yeah. Well, and on that, it's another parallel between food and art to me is that the being kind of a trained eye, because I can now, I mean, obviously I have ways to go, but I can look at something composition wise or texture wise or something like that, and it's like seconds. I'm like, I want this, and I'm like pulling it all together. But that took a long time for me to develop. I've been, I've always been interested in art, and I've been kind of a student of the world. I didn't go to art school, but I notice things and I pick up on, I see a texture and then I research it, or I see this and then I look it up, or I compile things, and I'm always like mood boarding. I'm always like continually training my eye. Mm-hmm. So then when I look at something, say a composition or something we've created, it's to me akin to cooking without a recipe. Because I've done the quote unquote homework, I don't need a recipe to do it. Because I've cooked for so many years, I get in the kitchen and I don't need, because I know the basic rules and which ones I can break. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Rules, yes. Well, like for a lot of cooking, there's the basic ratio. Like if you want to make a roux, there is a very basic ratio, but you can freeform it in so many ways with that basic ratio in mind. And the same with art and obviously photography and everything else. It's like, as long as you know which rules you can break and which rules just have to stay, and then you work around and you create and you design. And then, like you said, for cooking as well as for art as well as for photography, once you've built up like a certain amount of experience and knowledge and comfort, then you can really start to wing it and break different rules.
Yeah, then you can start going the opposite way and just be like, I don't need to justify why I like this. I like this because my eye likes it and I trust my eye, which
Yes.
once I got to a point where, you know, obviously it's not 100% of the time, but I trust my eye now. And I'm like, I know what's good. I know it looks
running
good.
on instinct, and it's not just a willy-nilly instinct. It's a trained instinct, right? It's an instinct that's taking you, either of us, like a long time to cultivate, and then you can go and create on instinct, but there's a basis to that. It's not just, I feel like throwing this out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's always that foundation that builds.
And I think it's good timing, you know, as well, because foods just kind of come back as such a central character in our lifestyles, and especially with the pandemic, but already like foodie thing was becoming such a big thing versus what we explored in our photo shoot, going back to like old still life and stuff like that, when food was such a central thing back in those days, in olden times when still lifes were so popular, when the oil paintings and everything else. And it's just really returned as a good central character in our lives. Mm-hmm. But the art has changed, or the way that we share it and the way that we see it and the way that we photograph it and the way that we cook it has all changed. So that opens like whole new worlds for all these styles of creating.
Well, and yeah, I think the way that we kind of ingest it has changed too, because it's so fast. And so that's a positive and a negative, because you can take this photo that you've taken, you know, maybe an hour to produce, and it gets half a second on someone's screen.
Yeah.
Or you can take it into a poster and it can actually sit there and it gets really appreciated. Or if it's like a print cookbook, there's something, we'll talk more about this later, but there's something really exciting about seeing a photograph you already really love in print. And I think I had forgotten how exciting that was.
Well, we've awoken.
I don't know. I don't want to give anything away now.
We've awoken that beast now. But you're right. Like when we're scrolling in our feeds and our social media, the photo, like you said, some of those photos still took hours to make. Not mine, but like other people's. And it's just consumed within a fraction of a second. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, well, then you hope to have more eyes, but then more eyes just getting it for a fraction of a second is still not really, it's not as, I guess, fulfilling as the artist or as the eye behind the image and the creative behind the image, as you might, like you said, of getting, that's okay, I got you. As you said, like getting to see it day to day on your wall or somewhere else. Yeah. Well, let's dig into it. Let's talk about it. So we did a little while ago, we did a bit of a dive into exploring kind of some still life together, which was so fun. And I knew you'd love that kind of jam too. As soon as I thought of you and doing something with you, I went straight to like still life, like old oil painting kind of still life, but modernizing it. Mm-hmm. And I think the way that you saw it really did modernize it. And I really enjoyed the pairing of like my eye for food and texture and color and food, and then your eye for composition and lighting and shadow in the styling and in the photography. It was so fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. Even just, and going back to like the story part where it's more, it was cool that we actually went and collected the ingredients together and then came back and kind of saw the environment together and did all that, because it was pulling that. We could have done 100,000 things with that pile of ingredients, but I think that really did play into the story that got told. Mm-hmm. With kind of that market day at the market kind of feel, but make it art, you know? Yep.
And I think that your style was a really kind of modern take on it. Like the styling wasn't overly fussy. There was nothing that was just kind of sitting there. Everything was very purposeful, and I think that's kind of a more modern take on still life that, there was a lot of stuff happening, and this was really pared down and focused on a few special things instead of just piling tons of stuff in there. So I was so thrilled to work with you, and it was a lot of fun working with all the colors and textures and structures. Do you have them there?
Should I show one of them as a little?
Let's show them.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
So we ended up taking, I think it ended up being about 6 photos. What was it? Yeah, 6 photos. Again, going back to how long things take, it was pretty much a day. And then we pared it down to 3, the photos.
3 chosen ones.
So here is number 1.
I think that's my favorite. So that's my market bag that I take to Granville Island like every single week. I take that same market bag all the time. What you made it look so fabulous.
When I was talking about like the magic of print.
Yeah.
I took this photo, we styled it. I edited it on my computer, went back, edited again. Yeah. I saw this image so many times, but when I got these proofs back and actually like looked at it, it took my breath away.
Held it in your hands, and
it was a different experience, which got me re-excited about. I don't know, this project was already exciting, but it just it told the story even further to me, and it made me feel emotions, which is like the point of art, what we're always trying to do. But it's kind of funny that my own art made me feel emotions after it was made.
But I guess seen it 100 times. I felt the same when you brought them to show me the printed ones, and I was just like, it took my breath away because it's so different. Oh, that's the mushrooms and the leeks, and I think there's sausages in the foreground. And I love.
Carrots.
I still remember you.
Carrots.
Oh, carrots. Okay, I still remember you placing that one little flower-looking mushroom there, and just saying, "This is it. This is what
the shot."
I was like the last thing to enter the shot, and that's the gold right there. So good.
And
I
this
had
one,
the
I
same
think,
little breathless thing when you show me the prints, because it's so different seeing them on your phone and on your computer, and then when you're actually holding it and it's become tactile, it really did come back to life. Like it's almost like we were standing in the photo again once it was printed. It was really cool to hold it.
And this one probably the most of a nod to old still life with
the link sausage.
Bit of drama.
Yep. The white bowl, that's I've had that bowl forever. And then I think
I loved how this turned out.
Yeah, the really like unpolished silver bowl in the foreground too.
Mm-hmm. And quail egg and a beautiful heirloom tomato.
Yeah.
Oh,
it brings back chills seeing them. I cannot wait to get them on my walls, and I can't wait to share them with everybody else because we're gonna share them with everybody.
Yes,
they are already up on my website. I made them live like an hour ago. So they are live for sale on the website. You can buy the prints. There's a set of 3. You can buy them individually, which is super exciting. And I can't wait to definitely have them on my wall. I think we checked it out. I think I mocked it up framed in black with a big white border, and it just looks stunning. Mm-hmm. And the play and the black and white, it just looks so, 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 so good. But we are also doing a giveaway. No, we're doing 3 giveaways.
3 giveaways.
3 giveaways for
not
3
one,
prints.
Not 2, 3.
So we're going to give one away to the comments on this video, one to the, and we'll set it all up right after this video, but one to the giveaways of my Instagram feed and one to the giveaways in your Instagram feed.
Yeah.
So that's going to be super exciting. It was just a really good to get a different pair of creative pants on for that day. And it was a lot of fun. And just treating your food photography back again as like an art and a form of art instead
Yeah.
of just, I got to get this up quick for Instagram and I'll snap it. Like I literally just snapped one outside before this quick of a plant outside. And I mean, it's different when you're really taking your time and being in the moment and creating a work of art that deserves to be up on the wall, beautifully framed, stared at every day.
And it's totally different energy, right? When you have no pressure around it. I think what was really cool also about when we got together is we we had a few keywords like still life, I think market, like food on the table or something like that, but it was like very basic. We let the ingredients and that day itself just take us where it wanted to take us, which is I think a really fun part of art because, like, for instance, when I'm working with my clients, I have like first something I take them through, and then I have a, a big questionnaire I take them through, and then I go through it with like a fine-tooth comb, and I have all this planning, and I have like a 4-page document, and I'm like, do, and I know this and that of what I have in my, what they
Yeah.
want, what I want.
Yeah.
And so I'm into the planning, but I'm also, and I even tell my clients this, I'm like, I plan, but also I leave room for magic because that's important to me because like something might strike me in the moment, or the lighting might be a little bit different that day, or something at the market wasn't available and then you got this, but that would have actually been way better. And I really like that spontaneity that keeps you on your toes because you can, I'm like so half and half, like such a planner, but also like love that spot. Like,
But
I'm a little bit of
again,
both.
same as your like education, right? You're planning to the point that you can be intuitive that from that point on, and you can just kind of go with it because you've done the work at the beginning, right?
That's true.
And we were totally creative in that last 1.5 foot of my table.
That's
Which
true.
is all I had left. We literally had to like scoop everything because my kitchen was still being renovated. So we're like trying to scoop all the crap to like get 2 feet of that silly table. But sometimes 2 feet's all you need.
And that boundary, that boundary created something unique. If we would have had your full kitchen, think about it might have been equally as beautiful, but we might have had more of a long tablescape photo. We got into this really intimate frame where you're looking like so closely. And that was a really cool perspective because sometimes you can go really close in with food. Sometimes you can pull it back and see the whole thing. And those unplanned boundaries, like the stuff on your table or being halfway through a renovation or whatever it is, those things can really take it a different direction. But when the point is just to make it as beautiful as possible, but with not a specific outcome, that can be really, really fun.
Well, I think you're right.
I want to go do it again now.
Okay, I'm free. I think you're right. Like if we had the whole table, it's almost too much. Like it's almost nice that all we had was that precious corner because then it made that corner precious. And it made it like part of the art and it made it part of the story. And sometimes restrictions, as I find in architecture too, like it's a lot of times the bylaws force you to create something just magical in that special space that you have left. And that's what we had. We had that special space left and that was it.
And
The
even with
kitchen.
the breaking the rules thing, we were going a direction that was technically incorrect because we were shooting towards the window.
Yeah.
And usually I would have gone the other way, letting the light come back and really highlight the food. But then I looked at that and my composition eye was kind of like, oh, that's really dramatic. We're getting like a little bit of side light and we're, not typical, but it was fun.
I see art in the food all the time, because from the moment, whether I'm gardening or picking up food at the market, I'm already looking at color and texture, and then just piling it in my little market bag. I'm looking at my bag going, wow, it looks like art just sitting in my bag. And sometimes I do quick pictures just of my bag sitting on the ground. And then I get it home and it's all piled and tumbling on my countertop and it looks artful again. And then when I start chopping and picking things to put in a certain dish, that process of picking and choosing becomes an art form in itself, because what you're left with are the colors going together, the textures going together. And so I'm seeing art the entire way through. The problem with me is I don't have time to stop and take a ton of photos. I'm so busy actually making a thing that it's hard to remember to stop and to get that eye. So that was a real treat working with you, because it forced me to stop and to slow down and to just appreciate a few simple ingredients in a nice little special corner.
Yeah.
So it was, like you said, it was magical.
It was really cool.
It was fabulous.
Definitely.
Well, show our prints one more time that are up on thehomekitchen.com for sale in the shop.
Home Kitchen and Pantry Studios.
We're going to give away one of each, one on Pantry Studios Instagram, one on Alison Kent Home Kitchen Instagram, and one on this video comments. So comment away.
Number 1. Also tell us what your favorite one is if you've been watching this whole time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good call.
Oh, I just love this little... Do you remember what the variety of mushroom that is?
I don't. I just remember I keep going to look for cauliflower mushrooms. We have to photograph cauliflower mushrooms. Like, they are the coolest thing.
I could photograph mushrooms for days. You get me in a forest with my camera and I'm just like on the ground covered in like rain and moss, and I have 10,000
next time we'll forage first. Oh, Danica said it's an oyster mushroom. Oh, yes. I love it. I love it. So you can visit Pantry Studios, pantrystudios.ca, correct?
Yes, .ca.
Yes. .ca for all of your food photography and styling needs, because I know I will. And we will have our giveaway set up within the next hour or so. And you can find Jolene at Pantry P_A_N_T_TRY_ for
I made such a complicated one, sorry.
For her Instagram. We have a vote for number 3, which was the white bowl and the rusted old stainless bowl with the quail eggs. Yes, nice. Yeah, well, most people here know where to find me. Another vote for number 3.
Oh.
Ooh, we'll see.
See what's the favorite. They're beautiful. I think my favorite is the first one, number 3.
Barb wants the whole trio.
All of them? I wonder if I can, if my hands are... I should have framed these and hung them. I'm going to get a nice photo of them all together, but a photo of a photo, getting real meta now.
A photo of a photo.
Here's all of them together. Oh, that's not going to be big enough.
That's okay. Nice. Yeah, Barb still wants all 3.
It will look so much better than this. Okay, I just butchered that. Sorry, folks.
No, we'll get photos up at some point in time. For now, I've done some mock-ups for the website, but yes, follow everybody, follow us. We're gonna have the giveaways up soon.
We're posting giveaways tomorrow for the 2 and tonight for this one, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
So keep all your comments going in this one, and we're gonna pick somebody from the video, and then we're gonna have like official giveaways in our Instagrams tomorrow. So stay tuned, everybody. Thanks for chatting food and art with me, Jolene.
Yeah, that was really
30
fun.
minutes go so fast?
Yeah, that one. I was like, how are we going to fill this? I'm going to talk so weird.
Oh, no. We could fill time. Fill time.
I feel like I could do another one of those.
I was going to say we could probably do a whole nother one at some point, but...
Next one, we talk kitchen rentals, because that's... or gardening.
Yes.
I just planted my garden. I'm really excited.
Oh my
We
God.
have to talk about that.
We have so many topics. Okay. Yes. Good to see you. Thanks for chatting.
Good to see you. Thanks, everyone, for chopping in.
Bye.
Bye.